Hey guys, welcome on back to the ocean. Theory Chum here. And the last time I made this video was last year, and I had a long way to come. I've come a long way, and I still have a lot more work to do, but it is about time I put this video out in a better way. So with that being said, welcome to Quantum Agony, version 2. So, whenever we look at agony in FNAF, we need to understand what I'm talking about before we actually get to the conversation. It's very commonly understood through both FREDDYS talking about it in 135 and community conversations that agony is the emotional energy in Five Nights at Freddy's, the one that carries the consciousness, the memory embedded essence of the human. Now, as we'll read later in Prankster, Taggart and Talbot worked together whenever they were younger as they studied these things, Taggart being the one who studied agony, Talbot being the one who studied and created Remnant. And in this, we get told a lot by what's being called the expert source. And not only are we getting told, the narration is backing it up and it's showing what's happening. We're going to go more through that so we can understand that agony isn't just some ghostly essence. It's actually an energy that follows rules of electricity. In the 1:35 a.m. epilogues, Taggart doesn't treat agony like poetry or like the haunted sense, as we'll see. He treats it as something measurable. He uses tools that work if there's a real physical signature or something that behaves like a current. One big clue that he gives us here is EDA, electrodermal activity. It's the skin's ability to adduct a current. You put electrodes on the skin, run a tiny current in between them, and the better it runs, the freer it runs with less resistance, the higher the electrodermal activity. Here's why that matters. If agony didn't act like a real charge or signal, the equipment Taggart used would not detect it. It wouldn't be able to pick it up because it wouldn't be an electrode. It wouldn't be flowing freely across the surface of the skin. It wouldn't be like that. But it does. And we're even told that he can feel the energy directly. It even states that it can dance along his fingertips. Phineas hurried to his protected room. He knew exactly what he needed. So it only took a few minutes to place the items in separate boxes and return them to the lab. There, he put the boxes on the table next to the bare endoskeleton. Running his hands over the metal skeleton, he reveled in the electric energy dancing at his fingertips. So right there, we're being told that it's an energy that he directly feels along his fingers. So here's the first rule of agony. It's not just some emotional mysticism. It's an energy that behaves following the properties of electricity. So think less along the lines of ghostly children and more along the lines of electricity haunted with ghostly children. I understand there's not much of a difference there, but there is a difference in the physics, and in that nuance, it matters. So the next thing we're going to talk about is a huge misconception in the community, and it's that agony is only negative emotion. And I totally understand why this is the case with the games, at least, because you don't really get to see a lot of positive agony happen. However, we do get to see it happen in Prankster and Blackbird. In both of those, we actually get to see the light come out. We see Jake turn into an Aurora Borealis that Larson witnesses whenever Jake is leaving the Stitch Wraith. An Aurora Borealis is created using solar wind. Solar wind is light particles. Jake had become this Aurora Borealis while he was having great memories of his dad, feeling love and warmth and smiles, sunny days. And that sunny day is going to be a pretty big important thing. People hear agony and assume it means only negative emotions. But Taggart tells us something important. Positive emotions matter too. Love can influence the energy. As I expected, he typed. Extreme human emotion appears to impact its surroundings far more powerfully the more negative it is. Agony, I'm convinced, radiates further from people more than any other emotion. Love has its influence, but the experiments being done with water crystals have been misinterpreted. Just because love forms beautiful ice crystals doesn't mean it's the most powerful emotion. Right there, he's telling us that love also influences this energy. We also see this in Blackbird. Jake is having great memories of his dad. He's leaving the Stitch Wraith, his agony is. And whenever Larson is on looking this, he's seeing an aurora borealis. An aurora borealis is created whenever solar wind enters an atmosphere with gravity, which Earth has, and gases, which Earth has, such as we see the aurora borealis at the North and South Poles. So seeing that we're being told that love can influence this emotion, then we see that Jake has loving memories with his dad, and he's turning into actual light. And then at the end of Prankster, whenever Jake sinks into the ball pit, it says he feels massless because he's turning into agony. He's separating from the Stitch Wraith again. And whenever he does that, his light clings to the balls, and he starts giving people their happiest day. They start having good memories, and they start being freed. Whenever that happens, they're growing bright with light. So it's pretty specifically happening with good emotions. So the difference there is that Taggart believes that negative emotion produces a more potent charge. But that ends up not being true by the end because Jake ends up defeating Eleanor. Spoiler alert, BT dubs. Whoops, my bad. So this is more like in the part of like a TV show or something like a game or a movie where it's like, oh, the big bad evil guy, it's impossible to defeat him. We're not going to be able to do it. And then throughout the course of the series, the main character gets stronger, and then they have the final showdown, and the main character ends up winning using power of friendship or belief or their best friend being blown up. Krillin! So, but him saying that negative emotion radiates further isn't saying that it's only negative emotion. It's just saying both exist, but one hits harder. So think about it like electricity. You can have different charges, different states of those charges, and different intensities. What happens is that the direction matters, its polarity, and so does the strength. So the second rule. Agony energy can be influenced by positive and negative emotion, but negative tends to communicate strong. So let's talk about the part that makes this quantum agony, and we have more to look at. This comes from Fetch, in the story Fetch. So whenever Mr. Jacoby is talking with Greg, he speaks about the 0-point field. Ta-da! And he tells him the field is pretty much a huge grouping of subatomic particles running and clashing into each other. That's called annihilation. That's it. I don't know if we'll get into that in this video. We may need to. We may not. Anyways, I want to clear up some misconceptions about the 0-point field whenever we're going into this. The 0-point field is not something special or new or unique to FNAF. The 0-point field is already a belief in physics. The 0-point field is basically the belief that we do not exist in a vacuum, that everything that exists around us isn't being sucked off to space while trees make oxygen and we breathe carbon dioxide, make the air to live, that kind of stuff. In the 0-point field, it's a bunch of different fields, and these different fields all make different things, right? So, for instance, matter fields are made up of quarks. This jar is a matter field. It would be made up of quarks being solid, kind of stuff. And then you have gravity fields, which are based on theoretical gravitrons. And then you have force fields, which are in fields of energy, and that can be fields of light. And that is what we're going to be looking at with that. So whenever we're talking about subatomic particles, there's one that stands out to us, and that is a photon. A photon is a singular unit of light that is just light. It's light energy. It holds the light energy. So, 0-point field is like an empty pocket. It's like this glass jar. At the moment, it's empty. There's nothing inside of it. But we can change that. Let's say we're having a really good day. So our energy goes right into the jar. Right? We no longer have a 0-point field. This field is now a force field because our happy emotions have left us, turned into energy particles, and they have now entered the field. So here's what I'm suggesting. Emotions don't just magically become this black goo. That does happen through annihilation. That's whenever two particles of energy, like photons, collide at high speeds because they move at the speed of light, and that collision, based off Einstein's formula, is actually times by itself, well, it's squared by itself, which is an incredible output of energy, which ends up making the mass be more than one in Einstein's famous equation, the law of conservation of mass or energy, whichever way you want to look at it. So here, emotion is an energy carrier, right? It's energy. Our emotions feel it. They leave our bodies. They emanate from us like a cloud. You're only looking at the short-term timeline, Phineas said. You see the result of the shotgun's energy, so it seems greater to you. Human emotion is slower to impact, more insidious. It emanates from us, or excreted from us, if you will, like sweat or tears, and it wafts outward like a noxious cloud, soaking into the surroundings. For some time, I have been studying the effect of these emotions. I am getting close to a breakthrough. There's also a part in TSE where Marla is talking with Charlie and the rest of the gang, and they speak about you're getting brief glimpse of people's hope, fear, love, emotions they felt there, kind of like deja vu. I'll have it up here on the screen for you for a second. In physics, light is carried by photons. Photons are neutral. They're just light energy. But in FNAF, human emotions charge that energy in the 0-point field, and it modifies it. Pretty much, you could say it's like coloring in an empty piece of paper. Emotion charges the carrier spreads, and then that energy can become imprinted into things. It wafts, it lingers. So, as I was talking about with Jake becoming an Aurora Borealis, the positive emotion is light. They're photons. The series constantly gives us like behavior. Like whenever Jake is having memories of his dad, he's feeling the warm sun buoying his face. He's feeling that warmth. Light converts into heat whenever it's being released. They're showing the feeling of comfort, which is also associated with light and that warm feeling. Like whenever he freed Millie and the rest of the victims in the pit at the end of Prankster. Then, of course, there's the bright flashes. There's the Aurora Borealis. There's making the balls in the pit glow with light. So the fourth rule is that positive emotion behaves like light. There's warmth, glow, comfort, that kind of protection vibe. Now we're going to talk about the dark side. Let's talk about the side that's scary, the spooky, the ooky dooky. The negative side, it doesn't just hurt, it lingers, it sticks into its surroundings. In the books, it's described as cold, such as whenever Millie is trapped at the end of Prankster before Jake sets her free. She's in just a cold space. The dark energy has a high gravitational pull, like when William Afton was becoming the amalgamation, he was actually able to pull all the metal into him. It's harder to get rid of, so it's something that does linger and stay around, as I've said. And then it can also distort light around it. We see this with Phineas Taggart in the 1:35 a.m. epilogue. Phineas stepped back to watch the process. Not that there was anything to see. Unfortunately, the transfer of emotional energy occurred at a frequency the human eye couldn't discern. If Phineas turned out all the lights and used a blue light, he could detect just a little bit of energy flow. They actually did this in the Ticket to Fun using the blue light. They were referencing Taggart's blue light, as well as in the Help Wanted Curse of Dreadbear. You use a blue light to see hidden messages in that. So we have an energy that's invisible. It's invisible in the book. It has a high gravitational pull. It's cold. It's dark, and it can pull light, just like dark matter. In real physics, we can't directly see dark matter, but we see it and we make references about it through the gravity it has. And gravity is one of the few things strong enough to distort light. So, the fifth rule, negative agony behaves like a dark side energy. It's colder, persistent, and it has a gravitational pull. It's also invisible, which is another part. Part number 6, wave-particle duality. So here's a big one. How does an emotion become a haunted animatronic? Here's going to be the simplest version, right? So you've affected the 0-point field. And you have your particles all throughout it. Those particles are now flying all throughout the 0-point field. What's going to happen is that they're going to come across a metallic surface that can conduct electricity. And those particles are going to start running back and forth across that container. People naturally radiate emotion outward. That's the wave phase. It spreads out like waves. In the stories, whenever agony gets captured, it's getting conducted into objects. It stops being a wave, and the particles are being pulled out of that wave onto those surfaces. It becomes stored, locked, packed in, stuck in place. And what causes it to be captured, we're told in both the 1:35 a.m. epilogue and the Prankster epilogue, that it's like how water conducts electricity, the electrodermal activity. It's all about conduction. Metal, alloys, wires, components, wet surfaces, anything that can hold a charge. A human body with sweat and blood. So when a tragic moment happens, like the bite, and I'm going to bring back a big baddie Fred boy because he was like everybody's favorite part. So he's just going to be chilling down here in the corner. You get an emotional explosion outward. Those charged particles get picked up by the nearby materials that can conduct its particles. It's an energy imprint that contains memory-like behavior. Sixth rule. Agony spreads like a wave state, but its particles can get trapped by getting conducted onto a surface. Coming into that, we come to talk about time travel. And this is just another way that agony, being light and dark, makes sense. It makes FNAF make sense. In Into the Pit and Return to the Pit, Oswald is able to go back in time and go back to the present day. He's also able to go back in time and then go 16 years in the future whenever he goes into Chip's ending in the same time that he went back to the past. Now, that's a lot of time tomfoolery, so we don't really know what to trust there, except we know how it happens. Agony is made up of light particles or dark matter particles. And light and dark move at the same speed. You can try it. Turn off all your lights. You'll see it be immediately dark. Turn on your lights. Turn it off and on. You'll see it's the same amount of time. Your room's going to go dark as soon as you hit the light switch. It's going to go light as soon as you turn it on. Because light and dark both move at the speed of light, they are something called relative to time. What this means is a reference to Einstein's special theory of relativity, which was called the special theory of relativity because later on it became the general theory of relativity. So that was a special case back then. But pretty much what that says is the faster you go, the closer you get to moving the speed of light, the slower you're going to experience time. Neil deGrasse Tyson puts it pretty well. If you were the perspective of a photon, the moment you're emitted from a star, and then the moment you land on some tan body on a beach, you experience that in the same instant. You, as a photon, would be able to experience what's called the future history. Be able to see into the future, be able to see into the history all at the same time. And that's because it doesn't experience time. You can see it, you could say it's outside. It's not actually outside of time because it just doesn't experience it, but it has the same effects of being outside time. So in that case, you can see 30 years into the past, 16 years into the future, 12 years later, 12 days before, etc., etc. And all of that would make sense because it doesn't experience linear time. There's no bound, there's no rule for it to follow that it can't jump like that. Like in the chip route and return to the pit. So let's go ahead and chomp it down. Agony behaves like electricity. It's influenced by positive and negative emotions, but negative emotions are supposed to be stronger. It spreads out in waves, and the particles inside of those waves can be trapped by being conducted to a surface. This is what creates Remnant. Talbert sighed. Remnant is, he paused. In non-scientific terms, it's like the metal is haunted. It's more complicated than that, of course, but it's similar to the way that water conducts electricity. Remnant is the mixing of the tangible, which is a solid object, with the intangible, a not solid object like energy, of memory with the present. And we get references to agony and memory time and time and time again. The people and things that are lost, it makes them almost real. So he says it's like how water conducts electricity. Whenever we're being told that, and we're showed that Taggart and Talbot worked together in the past, we're being told by experts in the series that have been set by the narrators, by the creators, Remnant is whenever agony, those particles are conducted to a surface. So whenever the energy comes out, it emanates, the particles come to a surface, that surface becomes a remnant, right? And you can melt that down into a metallic liquid substance and then put it into another animatronic. And then those particles that are in that liquid will charge that animatronic. It's like a portable battery. Those trapped imprints, that energy has the memory of the victims it came from. It has the memories, the emotions that it was made with. Like whenever Charlotte was stuck in that moment of rage, being mad at all the adults for not doing anything in FNAF 2, the movie. Thank you guys so much for swimming out here with me today. It's been Theory Chum. If you've liked this and you got a little bit of bait in your belly, rub your tummy, hit the like button. If you really, really liked it and you want to see more of the science breakdown with shark puns and awkwardness, swim your finger on over to the subscribe button. Until next time, keep floating in the ocean.